Okay. We are live. There we go. I think I've got the chat working. I apologize if you're in the chat and I'm not seeing it right now. Okay. Well, if you tune in live, thank you. Feel free to ask questions. I have what looks like the chat open, though I'm not positive it's going to work. But if it does, great. So this is a weekly live stream to answer questions. This week I'm going to be talking about MLA, citation, how to use sources, all that. That lines up with the college class I'm currently teaching. But obviously, if you have questions, feel free to answer them or to ask them. I'll do my best to answer them. I'm just going to do a quick run through on MLA and all that. I do have other videos already posted to this channel, but this gives me an opportunity to do it live if anyone wants to check in. That's great. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick run through on MLA. Yeah, you do a quick run through on MLA, what it is, how to use sources, stuff like that. I'm not going to go into extreme depth, but I'm going to do a quick run through. All right, so if you have questions, feel free to ask them below, and we'll go from there. Okay, so first of all, MLA is one of many citation styles. It is not the only way to cite a paper, but it is the way that we use in English studies. So if you're taking a college English class, more likely than not, they're going to ask you to use MLA style. If you're doing a humanities class, a literature class, or another foreign language, odds are you're going to be using MLA. And that is because MLA is a citation style, a citation or a style for how to give credit for authors' works, how to look it up, how to backtrack, how to find the original content, how to give credit where credit is due. That's what a citation style does. And it has a specific way on where to put everything on the page, right? This specific style, MLA, is designed to focus on the words, the text, long quotes, short quotes, lots of quotes, frequent quotes. That's what MLA is designed to do well. If you are in any field other than English or a humanities class, odds are you're probably using a different style like APA. APA stands for American Psychological Association. They coined a style which lots of research-focused fields have latched onto because they have different purposes. They focus on different things, right? For example, when I was working on my doctorate, everything I had to do was in APA. And in fact, I wasn't supposed to use quotes like more than once every 10 pages. I probably quoted something maybe 3 times in the 140-page dissertation because it's not about what people say. It's about the meaning. It's about the significance of the research. And so you focus on things like years and stuff like that. But MLA, you're going to focus on page numbers and the exact words because language is the focus. All right, you with me? Anyway, that's kind of the point. So let me run through this real fast. I might be able to pull up something over here. Let's see if I can pull up a second screen. Boom. All right. So right now you can see I've got a blank document in Microsoft Word. I'm going to kind of show MLA. There's 3 parts to MLA. First is format, second is in-text citations, and third, works cited entries. So I'm going to show you format. This is where everything goes on the page. So MLA has some very specific guidelines. Now, if your teacher gives you some other guidelines, follow what your teacher says. But these are just kind of the basic stock answers. Okay, so in the upper left-hand corner on the first page for MLA, you're going to have student name. It's going to be double spaced. Let's make sure this is actually double. Okay. And that's an easy way to do it. You select everything, you go to this up-down symbol, and you just click 2.0. Boom, everything's double spaced now. All right. That goes back to the history of things being printed out and teachers needing space to write. Now that everything's digital, it's probably not necessary, but it's still the style. Anyway, student's name, teacher's name, you put the class name, and then the date. Now remember, dates in MLA are backwards. So today is June 4th. So it'd be 4 June 2018. That makes sense. All right. So on the next line, you put the title. The title is centered. No extra space here, just the normal double spacing. And then you start the body on the next line. And nothing special, nothing fancy. You can put it into Times New Roman if you want. You probably want to be size 12, but that's not the end of the world, depending on what your teacher says. So this basic formatting for MLA. Also, on every single page, you want the author's last name and the page number. You're writing this, so you're the author. So insert page numbers. You want to do top of the page, right? So just like that. Then if I, if I'm putting it in here, do that. If I'm using a different, I'm doing Times New Roman and 12. Just select like that, double off. And next time I add another page, this will automatically update to, So that's it. That is basic formatting. If you go to another page, your works cited page, which will be the last page of your document, or it'll start after the document is over. Whoops. And it goes from there, and we'll get back to this in a second. Okay, so this is basic formatting. Nothing fancy. It's not bold. It's not italicized. It's not in quotation marks, unless what is in the title requires those things. Okay, so you write your paper. Let's say you use a quote. The quote is, arts and rights, English is cool. Okay. Your in-text citation is how you cite, how you give credit for an author's work in the middle of the paper. And you do it at the end of every single sentence where the author, where you use someone else's words or ideas. Now, your teacher may not require that often, but I'm going to explain why. They may feel like it's redundant. You know, you're getting the point across. You're showing that you know how to cite. Great, great, great. Citing every single sentence, you can never go wrong, because the implication is when you don't cite something, you're telling the author that those are your words and your ideas. So anything you don't cite, you're either leaving it up to the author's imagination or you're accidentally plagiarizing. So that's why I say every single sentence. And it's going to be the author's last name and the page number. Let's say this is page 5, period at the end. That is what an in-text citation looks like. This is the most confusing thing in the world for students. I don't know why. They're like, wait, what do you do? What? After every sentence? Wait, why? This is what we're talking about. Now, if there is no page number, okay, then don't put a page number. You can identify like paragraphs. It could be paragraph 5 or something like that. You can do that if you want. But you don't have to make up anything, right? And what if there is no author listed? Well, you do some sort of abbreviated version of the title. Let's say, you know, English is cool is also title. I can change this, right? Okay. But what you don't do in your in-text citation is include all of the information. That's because that's not the purpose of an in-text citation. An in-text citation is about giving just enough information to identify where in the document it is and to identify which source it is. So when you look at the end of the document at your works cited page, you can distinguish which source you're quoting. Does that make sense? You don't need all the information. All the information goes here, and it basically comes in 3 categories. You start with the author's name. Let's say Smith John. Then you put title or titles. If it's something that's part of a larger work, you're going to put both titles. So let's say it's an article in a newspaper. You'll do the title for the article and the newspaper, right? So let's say this is an article called, I'll go and throw my name since that's the example I was using. English is cool. Out of the publication, you know, what teachers think oh man, not typing well today. English. All right. Let's say you go like that. If it's part of a larger work, it goes in quotation marks. If it is the larger work, it goes into quotation marks. Or, sorry, it goes italicized. Now, everything that comes after this depends on the kind of source that you're citing. And that's why I'm not going to go into that depth tonight. I'm just going to say, check your textbook, go to good resources. Like I'm going to show you one here. I like the Purdue OWL website, owl.english.purdue.edu. This is a great site. You can pull up APA. You can also pull up MLA. They have a lot of good resources. You can pull up a sample works cited page. This is going to explain things. I'm going to pull up a sample right here. This goes through everything. This is a great source. I also like to use Long Island University. Oh, they've updated it. Anyway, it's a great resource. A lot of good sample practice stuff for you. Check them out. But basically, get back to what I was saying before. You've got 3 kinds of information you include in a works cited. Author or authors, titles, and publication information. And the publication information is going to depend on what it is you're citing. You know, you can cite just about anything. You can cite a website, you cite a book, you can cite a DVD. That's why it's completely different, and you have to look up your guides. Okay, so that is a quick run through on MLA. Again, I've got videos that explain things in more depth. They go are much more specific, but that's a quick run through altogether. Now, let me go through 4 quick things real fast on how to effectively use a source. So if you are writing an English paper and you're referencing a book, an article, something that you're reading, you should be on one of 4 steps at any given time, right? And I make them rhyme because I like that. Okay, you're either on, let's start with attribution, quotation, citation, explanation, right? Okay, so after you've introduced your text and you're actually talking about it, you're going to give attribution for who the author is, any sort of relevant information that your audience needs to know, right? Attribution could be, let me go back to sharing my screen again. Okay. Attribution could be like this, right? Larson writes. That is saying who said it, and you're working your way into step 2, which is quotation. This right here is not a citation. This are the actual words of the source. This right here is your citation, right? So I want to make sure that we're clear. This is attribution, where you are attributing or you're setting up for what comes next. You know, Larson writes, me. Then you give the actual quotation. This is the content from someone else's work. Now, this doesn't have to be a quotation. This could be a paraphrase. This could be a summary. And then you get to the actual citation where you're actually showing where the information came from. This source, this page, right? This is a quotation. This is a citation. They are not the same thing. Now, following this, you need explanation. This is where you explain and you relate the whatever insight you're going to make about the source. You relate it back to your main point, and you do that. So again, you've got 4 steps. Step 1, attribution. Step 2, quotation, paraphrase, summary. Step 3, citation. Step 4, explanation. If you're not on one of those steps, you're probably not talking about a text anymore, and you're just riffing, right? And maybe that's appropriate for the kind of paper that you're doing. But if you're doing a reader response paper, or you're digging in like we do in English papers, and you're talking about another source, you're synthesizing them, you're whatever, you're probably on one of these steps. You're either setting up something, you're actually quoting it, you're giving credit for where it comes from, or you're explaining it. Make sense? All right, so this is real fast. I don't see anybody asking any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and sign out. But if you have questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below, and I'll get back to you. Or you can email me. That'd be great. My work email, jacob.larson@eac.edu. Be glad to answer your questions. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.